What's going on? What's going on, team? Welcome back to another week. Welcome back to another Money Monday. Welcome back to another weekly stock talk. My name is Xander with Facer Trading Academy. Today, what we'll be talking about is we're going to be talking about the S&P 500. We'll be talking about the Nasdaq, and then we'll also be talking about some of the opportunities that we have set up for this week. This year, 2022, we started out very well. We had a nice push on Monday. So let's see what we're going to be talking about from Tuesday through Friday and what opportunities we're going to be looking at. So today, looking at the chart on S&P 500, which is the SPY, we're looking that we're seeing a nice push to the upside here on Monday. The first thing that we see is the Nasdaq, or the MACD that's pushing up to the upside. We see a reversal happening here down here. We see that push happening to the upside. We do still have plenty of room to run on the RSI, and we're currently sitting at about 60, and we have about until 80 for it to actually start pushing to overbought levels. So I do anticipate we are going to put in new all-time highs. We do have a resistance here at 479, which we're approaching. We have 477 right now. That happened here on Monday. I do anticipate that we're going to push a little bit higher here throughout the week. So that's pretty much what we're seeing here on the Nasdaq from a technical standpoint. Like I said, we do have plenty of room to run. So I do anticipate we're probably going to potentially hit maybe 489. I'm not sure about that, but we will be seeing all-time highs. That is what I am expecting. We did push above the EMA here on Monday. We pushed a little bit down below the EMA on Friday of last year. And then this year, we're starting to see a push to the upside. So it looks like we're potentially approaching that resistance level. So let's see if we do break that. That's what we're watching right now. As far as the watch list that we had up, we are seeing a lot of push to the upside on all of the tickers that we did announce to the team. So if you guys are not on the team, I will leave a link down below in the description. So make sure to join the team if you do want to work with us on a closer basis. But that's what we're seeing here on the SPY. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. It should be fairly similar to what we're seeing here on the S&P 500. So on the Nasdaq, let's go ahead and zoom out. That way we can see a bigger picture. So very similar Nasdaq. We're seeing the MACD starting to push to the upside. I do, like I said, on the S&P 500, very similar to what I see on the Nasdaq. I do anticipate us pushing to the upside here on the Nasdaq as well. The Nasdaq also has a lot of room to run here on the MACD as well as the RSI. We are approaching all-time highs. So let's go ahead and establish that resistance level here on the Nasdaq, which is approximately 16,767. So let's go ahead and put that at there. We did approach that back on the 27th. So I do anticipate us approaching that right there, potentially having a little bit of a correction at that point, but I do anticipate us breaking into all-time highs, just like I said with the Nasdaq. So that's pretty much what's going on with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. So let's go ahead and jump into the opportunities that we're seeing here for this week on our watch list. The first one that we're going to be looking at is going to be the AMD. Excuse me. So with the AMD, we're seeing a break to the upside here through the EMA. The 13 EMA is what we're watching. That is our strategy. So that's what we're seeing. And also with the MACD, we're seeing a push to a breakout to the upside. Along with the RSI, we do see quite a bit of room to run here on the RSI. We're only at 61. We have overbought levels starting at 70. So I do anticipate us breaking at least up until 156. That's where I see us breaking up to. That's where we're going to have the first take profit level. 156, and then after that we're going to see 164 is what we're looking at as far as the two targets. So that general area, once we start approaching that area, I would personally be taking profits at that level, and that's what I'm going to be talking about with the team. So that's what we're looking at. If you are on the team, that's where like I said, that's where I'm going to be starting to take profit at, is approximately these levels right here. We're going to approach that overbought level, and that's what we're going to be looking at with AMD. So that is why we do see AMD being attractive. Another one we talked about with the team on Sunday night is Apple APPL. That one had a strong push here on Monday morning. And we did see a break to the upside here on Monday. So it is taking a little bit of time to load here. Let's go ahead and see if we can speed that up. UAA. Okay, let's take a look at UAA because Apple's taking a little bit longer to load. So UAA is also another one that's on our watch list here. Let's take a look at the broader picture. We did see a bounce. We talked about UAA 2 weeks ago when we talked about our watch list as well, when we approached those oversold levels here down here on the MACD and the RSI. So RSI was looking very, very oversold, and MACD was starting to look like it's turning around. Let's go ahead and zoom in. That way you guys can see that bigger picture. So we were looking like we were oversold and we were starting to turn around. That's where we actually found support. That was a very strong support from back in September and October. We held that support very, very strong. So we were anticipating a very strong support here in December when we approached that level as well. So we saw that push down to the bottom. We found support at that $20 level, and then we started seeing a push up to the upside. So now we're starting to approach that 50-day moving average, which is this purple line, and which is approximately 2113. And so now we're attempting to break to the upside. So that's another one that we're watching for this week. Is it looks like we not only attempting to break to the upside, but we actually broke through that resistance, and we're attempting to hold that resistance. So like I said, if you do have your risk reward ratio set up, I would anticipate you have approximately a 3 to 4% risk reward ratio to the top. So from current price points, we're looking at approximately, let's go ahead and look at that potential. We're looking at about 22.78% profit potential. So if you have about a 3 to 4% profit potential for a 3 to 4% risk, that's approximately going to be a very good risk reward ratio. Obviously, we do have potential if we do begin to drop and get rejected by that 50-day moving average. I anticipate us dropping back down to this 2018 level. However, I do anticipate that we do hold this resistance level, and we anticipate to break up to the upside. That first level of resistance is going to be that 180-day moving average, which aligns very perfectly with that 2361 level, which is a resistance level from back in, it was beginning of December that we held that resistance level. So that's the level that we're going to be watching for the first take profit level for AMD or for UAA. And that's what we're watching for UAA. The first level that we're going to be watching after that, the next ticker that we're going to be watching after that is going to be MGM. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So MGM, it looks like we did break out. We talked about this one as well 2 weeks ago and a week ago before that, before Christmas and before New Year's. We talked about these levels right here. So it looks like we are holding above the 180-day moving average. We're zooming out a little bit. That way you guys can see the bigger picture. So we broke above the 180-day moving average. We came down, retested it down here, and it looks like we are beginning to push to the upside. So the MACD is looking very good. The RSI, we do have plenty of room to run. We're about 59.60. And we have 70 as overbought level. So if we do push above 70, we're going to start beginning to look at taking profit at 70. However, that's going to probably align close to +1 standard deviation, which is where we usually like to take our profit. So like I said, from here on out to those previous levels, which is going to align with support back from basically November. Let's go ahead and establish that support. That way you guys can see it on the chart. So 46.91 is going to be our first resistance level. And that is obviously if the market continues to push up to the upside. We did look at the S&P 500, and it looks like we do have plenty of room to still run on the S&P 500. So we're looking about 3.16% before our first take profit level here on MGM. Obviously, we have up until 51 for it to actually push. However, obviously, we do want to stay conservative because that is how we trade from a technical standpoint. We want to tick our piece and then we want to leave and move on to the next stock. So that's what we're looking at here with MGM. The next one that we're going to be taking a look at is Carvana Cvna. So CVNA, we did end up pushing down to the support level down here at 209. We did hold that support back basically in May. We came down very, very close to that support level, found some consolidation, and then we ended up pushing up to 376. So now we ended up seeing a push back down basically to that $200 level, that 208, 209 level where we were. 220 level was where we were in May, and now we pushed down to 140, 194, and now we're back at that resistance level down here at 234, which is very close to that 220, 234 level. And it looks like we are attempting to break out above it. We did break above that 50-day moving average, which used to act as a resistance pretty much for the last 2-3 months. It acted as a resistance, and now we are starting to break above it. So now what we're seeing is we're currently on the RSI. We see 58 as the level on the RSI. Plenty of room to run before we become overbought, which the first level that I'm going to be watching is obviously going to be that 271 level, which aligns very close to that 276 level as resistance from basically back in October. That acted as a support for when we were coming down. So that's going to be a resistance when we're going to be attempting to push up to the upside, which aligns very well with that 180-day moving average. So that's the first one that we're going to be watching, that first level. Obviously, after that, we're going to be watching the 299 level. And then after that, we're going to be watching that 376 level. So that's what we're watching with Carvana. It's more of a longer term play. Obviously, throughout the week, we're going to see an intraday play that we can take advantage of. However, we have that 100-day moving average as a potential resistance. Watch that, and that aligns very well with the -1 standard deviation. We basically came down to that -2 standard deviation, bounced at that level, which aligned very well with that resistance or support at that 210 level. And now we're attempting to push back up. Like I said, that 180-day moving average, the simple moving average, is what we're going to be watching for the way up as potential resistance. And that's what we're watching with Carvana. The next one after that we're going to be watching is going to be Blink, BLNK. So Blink, once again, we saw a nice push to the upside to 49. That aligned pretty much with the +4 standard deviation, found resistance at +4, and then we saw a sell-off all the way down to -1 standard deviation, found support and consolidation here at -1 standard deviation, and now we're attempting to break up to the upside. The RSI is looking up to the upside. We are currently sitting at 50 RSI. The MACD is obviously, we do have a push to the upside, and we're attempting to break that 50-day moving average. It used to act as a resistance. Once we do see a break above that 50-day moving average, which is approximately 27.62, I would anticipate us pushing at least to that 30.16 level, which is the 100-day moving average, which is going to be that first level of resistance. After that, we're going to see a resistance at 33.97, which aligns with the critical volume profile level here at 34, 33, 33.70, 33.87, 33.90, basically from 33 to 34. That's where that level is going to be. So I would anticipate that push to the upside. Like I said, though, the first level is going to be that 100-day moving average, which is about $30. And then after that, we're going to be looking at $34. So that's what we're paying attention to with Blink. Obviously, if the market begins to push up and EVs begin to push up, Tesla started to push up. Obviously, we saw a lot of other EV companies beginning to push to the upside. So we're anticipating Blink to begin to push to the upside as well. So that's why we're paying attention to Blink, BLNK. And the last one that we're going to be taking a look at is MSTR. So MSTR, we also saw a nice push to the upside back in November. We hit 894, That was our peak at 894, and then we began to sell off since then. After we saw that sell off happen at 894, we have been selling off and holding that 50-day as resistance, 50-day moving average as resistance. We pushed up to that 100-day moving average for a brief moment back in December on the 27th, and then we continue to hold below that 50-day moving average. We are beginning to push to the upside here, so we are paying attention to this. The first level that we're going to be watching is going to be that 628 level, and that level aligns with that previous resistance that we formed on the 27th, and also the critical volume profile level. So that's what we're paying attention to there. And the volume, or the potential for profit that we're seeing there, is about 12.35%. With that being in mind, I would say hold about a 3 to 4% profit or risk to reward ratio. That's what we're going to be paying attention to. Obviously, if we do break out, I anticipate us pushing to that first critical volume profile level. After that, the 180-day moving average. And after that, obviously, the +1 standard deviation and then +2 standard deviation, which aligns with that 894 level. So that's what we're paying attention to with the watch list for this week. If you guys want a more extensive watch list, do consider subscribing or signing up for the program and the academy down in the link below. If you guys did find any value in this video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. We do these videos every single Monday night. Sunday night is when the team gets these announcements. And speaking of Sunday night, we did talk about Apple, which is one of our players that we saw, or one of the trades that we saw for Monday. We talked about it on Sunday night, which was back down at 177. And then we closed out on Monday at 182. And so that was the play that we wanted to talk about at the beginning of the video that we had a little bit of a hard time finding. And we saw about a 2.78% profit that we did lock in here on Monday morning with the team. We did discuss that in the trading server. So like I said, if you guys are not on the team, consider joining the team, and I'll see you guys on next week's Stock Talk video.